Greetings, YouTube. So today I kind of went a little bit farther with my setup here, and I got my Joes in the staging area. You got Cover Girl flying in the helicopter, about to touch down at the LZ, and you got multiple G.I. Joe characters at the staging area getting ready to mount some offensive, probably against Cobra. I'm sure that they're up to no good, and it's time to put the kibosh on whatever plans they got. But today, we are going to be looking at a few customs that I put together this week. So let's get into it.
That is not my concern, Monsieur General. Now take your very expensive toys somewhere else.
Well, what now, Monsieur General?
Well, Sci-Fi, if we were Cobra, I'd say run him over. But we're not.
Keep an eye out, Sci-Fi. We need every advantage we can get.
I've got a pretty good observation post, General Hawk. What about the other Joes? What? Hawk, it's Cobra time.
To get rid of that Cobra jet job first.
All right, so now that you've seen a little clip of my guy Sci-Fi here, so this is Sci-Fi. He is a G.I. Joe character from the original cartoon series. I want to say he showed up in the comic book as well. I'm not as familiar with the comic book as I am with the cartoon, but he also was in the original toy line. I know that, well, I don't know this, but I think that he was very plentiful because he was one of the ones that I did have as a kid. I did have the 3 3/4 inch, which I'll put a picture of him here. I did have that Sci-Fi when I was a kid. It was one of my favorite Joes. He is one of the more, how should I put this, ostentatious or kind of gaudy looking G.I. Joe guy, whereas a lot of these other people are in military garb and have the muted colors and they look like military personnel. He looks like somebody that would be on, you know, Star Wars or Star Trek or something like that. So real quick, I'll give you a look at Mr. Sci-Fi here. I will tell you how I put him together. It might look like he is a complicated custom, but he's actually not. The figure that I found to use for the base for him had a lot of what I wanted already. As you saw when I put up that 3 3/4 inch version of Sci-Fi, he was in a lime green outfit. Like his complete outfit was lime green. And I knew, even though I love that figure, you know, as a vintage representation, I knew I wanted to go a little bit more subtle. So I wanted more black in his outfit. I did want to keep the silver accents. I did want the lime green to be prominent, but I didn't want it to be the entire figure. That just would have been a touch much. So this guy started out as, let me put him down real quick. So he started out as this guy here. This is a movie Marvel Legends or MCU character. He is, what was his name? Jan Rog or something like that. Basically, he was a Kree warrior from the Captain Marvel movie. Peg warmer. Nobody really wanted him. Sat on the shelf. People bought him for the Build-A-Figure and then sold the figure for, you know, $10 on eBay. So very easy to get, but had a lot of the features that I was looking for. The very, you know, futuristic kind of outfit. The little accents here, those were, you know, in the darker green of the figure. The helmet, I did have to do I did have to do a little bit to it to get it here, but a lot of that was already there. So let's talk about the helmet while I'm talking about it. So this portion here that goes around the back, that is completely new Believe it or not, this is the crotch piece from a Spider-Man Gamerverse figure. And I just glued it to him. I needed something that was going to be symmetrical, and I wanted him to look a little bit different than the original, so that worked. I sculpted this front part, or this top front part here, with a little bit of the putty. His visor is a piece of action figure packaging, basically the clamshell. And then I want to say, oh yeah, and I believe these parts here were also something that I cut off of some other figure and just had, two of the same one, glued it to his head, shaped it all how I wanted it to be, painted it, sealed it, and it looks great. His chest piece was also done with the putty. That one's a little bit more noticeable. That one I had to, sculpt completely from scratch. So I tried to make it as symmetrical and, angular as possible. It probably could have been better, but I'm still working on my sculpting skills. Other than that, though, it's just paint. Painted the different pieces, and you can see there's still a little bit of the dark green showing up there. But painted the different pieces, the lime green, painted over some of the darker green with the black, and then gave him the silver boots. So I thought this one came out pretty good for a classified version of Sci-Fi. All right, let's take a look at the next one.
Hey, Junkyard, how's it going, fella? You old hound dog? Hey, cut that out. Here, boy. Hope he wasn't bothering you, Duke. No, not at all.
Hey, Duke, what? Is the general talking about us? There. No, Junkyard! Get away! Get away from me! No! Junkyard, back off, boy! Take that dog and have it destroyed! No way! Get your hands off my dog!
All right, so full disclosure, I am not a pet person. I don't own any pets. I didn't have a dog when I was a kid. I didn't have a cat. I had a parakeet, and that was the extent of my pets. But in the G.I. Joe line, there are multiple characters that come with dogs or birds or whatever the case, and they were always the coolest ones. Snake Eyes had Timber, Spirit had Freedom, Law had Order, and here we have Mutt and Junkyard. Some of the beloved characters of the old school G.I. Joe. Just so fun just to see that guy with his dog, and like the dog was part of the G.I. Joe team. Like he was just the Junkyard was just as much a part of the team as Mutt. So first we'll take a look at Junkyard here. So this dog, and this is actually like a very, very good representation for the type of dog. I believe this is a Rottweiler, maybe. I could be completely wrong. Remember, I'm not a pet person, so don't, talk about me, how bad I got this wrong. But it definitely looks like the dog that was shown to be Junkyard in the TV show, in the cartoon. So this dog is from the Aliens line, like some kind of cheaper Walmart Aliens line that came with a bunch of aliens, and then they had this dog, just a random kind of big dog that fits perfectly with your 6-inch figures. So that's perfect. So I felt like, I really needed to do Mutt some justice, because this dog is so perfect for what I'm trying to do. So I had teased this in an earlier video. I forget which one it was, but I had, and I'll try to find the picture of what I had teased here, but I had a picture of my beginnings of this guy, and I didn't get around to doing them until this week. I was debating on whether I was going to use that base for another custom. So I was having second thoughts. Do I really want to do Mutt and Junkyard? But then I decided, you know what? I already got the dog. I need to just go ahead and do Mutt. And if I want that base again, I'll just get those parts again. So here's what I came up with. So recipe-wise, this is the bottom from the thighs down is the Gamerverse Captain America, the black version. The upper legs, and you can actually see that there's kind of these legs are a little bit bigger than the top legs, so there's a little bit separation there, which is not hideous, but probably not the prettiest. I'm gonna try to get some leg holsters to cover these up so it doesn't look so jarring, I guess. But anyway, from his top of the thighs to the crotch to the chest area is the Old Man Hawkeye. This vest is probably familiar to a lot of people. This is Beachhead's vest, which I gave Beachhead a cloth or a soft goods vest. So this was just sitting in my fodder bin. These upper arms are still Old Man Hawkeye. Then these lower arms were from the Kraven the Hunter 2-pack with Spider-Man. And this supposed to be like the thick glove thing that the dog handlers wear. It's from Pirate Deadpool. I forget where I got this black hand from. It's just a regular black hand. And the head is from the Retro Punisher. I sculpted his mustache and handlebar mustache. In the cartoon, he had a big mustache, but it wasn't this big. But I wanted to do something different with him so that he didn't look exactly like my Leatherneck back there, who is, same head. So I wanted to make sure that he didn't look exactly like him. So I gave him the handlebars. This helmet is from either Damn Toys or Crazy Toys, one of those. If you remember, if you've been watching my videos, I picked up a lot of different odds and ends off eBay from those cloth military figures. But they had some helmets, so I got one of these. And this helmet actually has an insert in it. Like there's a insert inside of the helmet that helps it fit on his head. So that does come off and go back on. And then the goggles are from a Viper. And yes, I took something from a Viper and put it on a custom. The goggles barely fit on the Viper's head, and I got 4 or 5 of them, so I didn't mind if one of them didn't have a pair of goggles. But you can always pick up these types of items that people are casting, like Gnomes Paintshop, and I'll put a link to his description down here. He's selling all kinds of parts of, classified figures, especially a lot of the hard to find ones. So if you really want, a pair of goggles and you don't want to, take them off your Viper, then you can hit him up and he'll get you squared away. One more thing that I probably should mention as far as recipes go. So obviously these parts were all different colors. I dry brushed, before I dry brushed, anything that wasn't already black, like these bottom parts of his pants were black, but the rest of the stuff was not. I painted that black first, let it dry, and then as like a base coat, then I dry brushed the dark green on there. And the dry brush works real well so that it doesn't, rub as much. And before I did all that, I sculpted these sleeves and kind of sculpted some wrinkles onto here. And one more thing, I also added this kind of belt in the pouches here just to add some more detail. And then these red parts up here that are iconic to his look, those are also sculpted out of the putty. I'm not at the point where I can do a whole documentary while I'm doing a custom, because it usually takes me a few days and it's not really something I'm used to doing, but I'm going to try it one of these days. If you have any questions, always hit me up. I really try to answer every single person that asks me a question or that sends me a comment. So, other than that, like, comment, subscribe, yo Joe, and I will catch you on the next one.